Water is the softest and most yielding substance, yet nothing is better than water for overcoming the hard and rigid, because nothing can compete with it. Lao Tzu.
Name straight, new wave. 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 Yeah. 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 Memories. Memories. Yeah. Memories. Memories. Got lots of love. Got Got lots of love. Love. 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 Got lots of love. Love.
Welcome back, everybody, to more CGL Season 13 coverage. My name is Bowsy. I'm joined here by Megalas on the cast, and tonight we are starting to continue on the final week of the regular season here, Megalas, with two teams that are trying to claim their spot at the top of the open tier.
Yes, indeed. Unfortunately, Last Dinosaur, they can't get a path to that #1 seed, but they can still topple over Shikigami for that #2 seed. And on the other side of things, Shikigami, they're playing for the whole shebang. They're sitting 7-0 right now. Map wins 21, map losses 0. They have a chance to complete that golden regular season. Granted, they just have a massive opponent standing in front of them. Last Dinosaur, this team is no slouch. And so it's going to be a really interesting game here to wrap out both these team season.
Yeah, definitely. Shikigami, again, trying to complete that complete golden regular season. It could have been a golden season throughout if it weren't for tax evasion being found out in the mid-season tournament. Nonetheless, though, Last Dinosaur also on a pretty hot streak. Only a few weeks ago did they lose their first match of the season against Outliers Esports, but every single match outside of that has been a clean 3-0 for themselves here, Megalas. So we'll have to see if they're going to be up against a very tough opponent here and try to take them all the way to the end.
Yeah, absolutely. Both of these teams, they're coming in fighting here. Obviously, some powerful rosters. Both rather small rosters, but hey, that's where you find the best synergy. Of course, you have Last Dinosaur up on your screens first. You have Zoe and Snozzler rocking that DPS line. It's going to be Mari on the tank, and then AJMR and Wicca on those support roles. And Bowsy, just star-studded across the roster. All these players are great.
Yeah, 100%. A lot of great talent on this roster here for the Last Dinosaur. This is the roster that's been able to get so many crucial wins throughout the entirety of the season. But their opposition is probably going to be the difficult one in this sort of situation. J-Man, Anhu, Aurora, Panther, and Skyla all on the side of Shikigami coming into this matchup here. This is, again, the team that has not lost a single map in the entirety of the regular season. Only once have they lost this season, and that was in the mid-season tournament. So they are proving to be a dominant force here in the regular season, and they're hoping to try and close out a golden regular season with 0 map losses across the board here. It's going to be a very difficult task for Last Dinosaur to try to take them on, but the potential is still there.
Yeah, if you flash back to that mid-season tournament that we had going on, sure, Shikigami, they fell by the wayside to the tax swarm, but Last Dinosaurs, they were sitting in that final. They gave it their all, not coming away with the win, just that second place, but it really just goes to show how great this team is, right? They're constantly punching above, even despite that one random loss to Outlier Esports, who, we got to see them last night. Phenomenal team in their own right. They have a lot of good synergy, but it really shows that these teams on the day can go toe-to-toe with just about anybody. So I'm really excited to see exactly how this breaks down, if Shikigami can get that golden stage or if Last Dinosaur can play upset.
Yeah, definitely. Last Dinosaur going to see if they can send a meteor strike to Shikigami's golden stage here. We'll have to see if they're going to be able to do that as we are heading in to our first map of the series here very shortly, so that both of these teams can duke it out here to see who is going to come away with their final victory of the stage. And we're starting off on Nepal here, Megalas, so we'll see what these two teams are going to try to roll out here with on the shrine to try and gain the advantage over the other.
Yeah, I don't want to be the boring person, but unless these teams have shook hands to play something different, you're very likely to see this standard composition. Shikigami's already hovering it. It's going to be the Orisa, the Sojourn, probably a Tracer for Anhu after they swap. Get everybody out with a nice TP. Last Dinosaurs are on a theoretical counter comp right now. If they choose to actually roll out on it is going to be the question, with the Zarya in tow to counter the Orisa and AJMR on the Baptiste to try to give that immortality field just a better fighting chance to keep the Zarya in the fight to do the damage needed. And Last Dinosaur, they actually choose to run out on it. So this is a theoretical counter comp. If it's played right, sure, you can do massive damage to the Orisa, but there's so many things that you got to mitigate, including the Tracer.
That soft counter of the Zarya coming out here from Mari is going to be the deciding factor here in this matchup. Shikigami currently just trying to set up, trying to bait out these abilities, but AJMR gets rid of Anhu before the fight even begins, and now that flank pressure is removed. The cleansing Suzu as well from Panther brought out of the equation as well, and with Zoe wreaking havoc in the backline, it's going to be the Last Dinosaur cleaning up the fight.
Yes, indeed, and you know, that's exactly what you need from this composition, right? Obviously, the highlight is the Zarya. You think it's going to be that frontline duel, but it is AJMR on the Baptiste. You have to be almost as survivable as well as putting out the damage like you're a Kiriko still if you truly want to maximize your value. Shikigami, they don't want to play the Orisa anymore. They've decided that they've been counter-comped and are instead heading over to the Winston. You know, this is a counter to Zarya, so we're going to see a lot of these swaps back and forth, but the Winston, the only thing swapping right now, Shikigami keeping the rest of the comp intact.
Shikigami start making that advanced game of rock, paper, scissors, start throwing out the different punches to try and take advantage of the last dinosaur's composition, as now they start to make their way over to the objective. Aurora is trying to jump up to this high ground where AJMR is caught off on the sideline, but meanwhile Zoe once again on a tear, finding 2 with this Tracer and sealing the deal for the dinosaurs.
And I mean, like, obviously, yes, Zoe popping off on the side here, a little bit of stagger coming through onto the Sojourn here at the last minute. J-Man not able to get out with their lives. But, yeah, you saw Aurora constantly on the Baptiste. AJMR was constantly being hounded, but somehow, some way, that Bap just had the survivability between that self-heal, the Exo boots. It was all there, perfectly timed. And when a Baptiste is living like that, it truly can just spell disaster for any composition. So now you're going to have to keep that as a factor here heading into this next fight, where dinosaurs have a massive ult advantage.
Dinosaurs with those ults can initiate here with that amplification matrix. Panther answers back with the Kitsune rush here. The dinosaurs are just kiting away from it, keeping behind this rectangle, shooting through the box, as Baptiste would advise you to in the ultimate voice lines. The Shikigami now just waiting for the perfect opportunity to re-engage here on who is hunting down Zoe on this Tracer, who already used that Pulse Bomb. Now the ult's coming out once again. J-Man uses the overclock. It's countered by the boot from Wicca, but Zoe's already taken out of the equation. Now the solo grab onto the Sojourn here from Mari, excuse me, just trying to keep away Shikigami, but they're still able to take the point in the aftermath.
Yeah, and it was a very messy fight back and forth, and last Dinosaur, I feel like they overcommitted to that one just a tad here. You're seeing that recall perfectly timed, allows who to get out of that one. But yeah, so now Shikigami, they have control of the point, and they were able to burn out that massive ult advantage that was coming down on them, right? The only thing online now for Dinosaurs is going to be Snuzzler's Sojourn, the overclock. I forgot the name of it. Jeez Louise. But yeah, Shikigami on the other side probably going to look to just dive them and shut them down super early.
Shikigami looking to try and shut this out early, but Snozzlar is going to say the opposite. Unleashes the overclock here. Looking for anything right now. Almost gets rid of J-Man in the backline of the objective here, but we'll get a pulse bomb to the face courtesy of Anu. Is saved by the immortality field, but Zoe and Anu now removed from the fight. Both Tracers now removed, and Aurora does not long for this world either. They get burned down by Mari here to start off this engage, as the last Dinosaur is still finding these picks. Panther answers back, gets a kill on AJMR, but Snozzlar able to hit Skylaw from on high with the railgun. The point's gonna flip over now to the side of the last Dinosaur, and overtime wick begins to burn. Shikigami need to try to find an answer, but Panther is removed from the equation. Their Kitsune Rush is their last dying breath. Still, it's the last Dinosaur with the stability on this objective. Aurora on the Doomfist trying to punch out this Zarya, but they'll meet the face of Zoe with their own punch of their own, with a punch of their own. And now with that amplification matrix sealing the deal here for the last Dinosaur, they're gonna take the Pulse Shrine here convincingly.
Yeah, and they do it, you know, like you said, very convincing fashion. I wish that we had a lot more Zoe POV, because that Tracer was going absolutely nuts. And that's sort of one of the keys to compositions like this in this modern day of Overwatch that we live in, right? You need to have a Tracer who's not just being a pest on the backline, being able to secure solo kills, do the damage where it needs to be done, and just constantly being able to rack up eliminations either with your pulse pistols or those pulse bombs. It really, really just comes to a massive advantage here. Now, last Dinosaur, they're sticking with their composition. The Zarya seems to be working for them so far. Shikigami now on our third iteration of a tank. It's going to be the Ramatra in play here. We'll see if this one manages to work out for them, but you know, for the first time, I feel like Shikigami, they're starting to look a little nervous. They don't have it under control.
As they meet up here in the center here, we'll have to see if Shikigami can get their bearing straight once again. Last Dinosaur, however, already putting in so much pressure, but now that pressure is flipped on its head. Mari is already taken out of the fight here. J-Man is going to get rid of Wicca as well, and Shikigami have found their footing once again and are going to take this objective first.
Yeah, it was a beautiful split. AJMR stuck, you know, in that little doorway, not able to peek out to try to get any heals down on the Mari on the tank. So now you're seeing running for their lives, but Aurora actually is now being pushed back despite getting that pick, because Mari's over to the Orisa.
But meanwhile, our Aurora is able to get rid of AJMR, so the last Dinosaur are going to have to wait to try and engage here again, Megalast, and that's crucial time that you probably want for this next fight.
Yeah, but it's smart to wait, right? You're down your Baptiste, you have to figure it out. You have to be able to figure it out with that hero in play, especially with how you're choosing to play this. It's a bit of a slower style compared to the Kiriko. Obviously, you don't have that cleanse. It's just you're giving that up for more healing here. But now Last Dinosaur has position on the high ground.
And taking that high ground is the Dinosaurs. Zoe's on the low ground, just trying to pressure out this point. They're currently in a Tracer 1v1 with Anhu, who's just trying to get rid of him in the sights. Panther now pops the Kitsune Rush, and Shikigami are once again back in the engage, but they're still on the low ground here. Last Dinosaur continuing to reign supreme on this high ground.
Yeah, they see that the Kitsune Rush got popped, so they don't want to deal with it, but now the engage comes through.
And Mari dropping right into the backline, gets rid of it and tries to force out all the resources onto J-Man. The beat from Skylaw also used. Wicca's going to answer back with their own, and then Amplification Matrix from AJMR sitting in the middle of the objective. Aurora just trying to block for every sort of bit of help they can, but they're eventually thrown down here. And with the late overclock from J-Man, it's going to have to be Shikigami retreating.
Yeah, you almost kind of wish you had that one back in your pocket because there was just nothing you were really going to be able to do in that fight without your Ramatra, and now we've pivoted over to our meta. The only variation is still AJMR on this Baptiste, but honestly, I haven't seen a point where I've felt like they need to go over to the Kiriko, right? Kiriko obviously has utility with the cleansing Suzu, but this Baptiste, the immortality fields have been perfect. The healing has been there. It's just been constant damage.
Meanwhile, with that constant damage comes Zoe getting those crucial picks, and now this overclock from Snozlar pushing right into the opposite team and cleaning up the entirety of Shikigami for a team kill in favor of the Dinosaurs.
A team kill off the back of one ultimate when you knew Shikigami had absolutely nothing in the tank after that fight where they had to flip the point over. So now Last Dinosaur in a phenomenal position to keep this point percentage ticking in their favor. Zoe's been lethal with the Pulse Bomb so far tonight. Probably going to be looking for another one here if I had to guess onto Skyla, or Skilla I should say, and that's just going to be the end of it.
Zoe and Anhu once again battling here on the objective in a 1v1. Meanwhile, the Orissas currently duking it out for their own in the Javelin contest. The Last Dinosaurs, however, are pushing back the core of Shikigami, but meanwhile, the point is flipped here by Anhu and Skilla on the objective. So now Shikigami are counting up their own percentage. Zoe looking for this kill onto the Lucio. Skilla as the Kitsune Rush attacked by Panther. The Pulse Bomb doesn't connect either, as they're just trying to get rid of his Lucio, but just can't seem to find the connecting blow. They're girled out by Anhu, but it's still the Last Dinosaur in the advantage. Mari finding 5 in this objective and flipping back the point here for the Last Dinosaur.
Ooh, I thought that spear connected. That would have been a clean way to send the Lucio packing. But, I mean, yeah, a massive team fight happened on the other side of it. Amplification Matrix dedicated, and the Orisa just rained damage through it. So now, heading towards what could be final fight here, Last Dinosaur is going to be able to match this Terror Surge blow for blow here. The big advantage is Wicca so close to that sound barrier to be able to help mitigate it and give that team extra health when they need it most.
Last Dinosaur pushing in here with this Terror Surge. Mari falls off the high ground because of it, but still Aurora now trying to use their own. The beat is there from Wicca to keep everybody alive, and Anhu is killed in the act. And the Last Dinosaur keep the Shikigami off of the objective, and just like that, the Golden Stage potential is completely wiped off the fact in the face of a C9.
Wow, I mean, Last Dinosaur, I knew they were definitely intended to come in swinging, but I didn't think they would come in this aggressive. They're even playing a little bit of off meta, as we've hit on a few times with the Baptiste, but they're making it work for them in spades, and to be able to sort of strike blood against Shikigami, this team that has been on an immortal pedestal for a lot of this regular season. I mean, if you're Shikigami, you just have to start thinking to yourself, it's not even just about the map or anything like that. It's just how is everything going to work out for you for the rest of this series if you're not able to sort of deal with the Baptiste or deal with anybody on the side of Last Dinosaur.
Yeah, we talked about the Shikigami Golden season, but Last Dinosaur, Megalast, have actually been undefeated on Control all season. So now they continue that undefeated streak here on Control, winning against a team that, again, has just lost their first map of the regular season. That is a big statement already here from the side of Last Dinosaur. Now comes the question, will the second map go the same way for Last Dinosaur, or is Shikigami looking for revenge?
I mean, you have to imagine that they've got to still be able to have some gas in the tank. You don't get to 7-0 with a perfect map score without being a good team, right? There's got to be some sort of extra level, some path that they've got to figure out, and just shake off those map one jitters, be able to really suss out what happened. But that's another thing about Overwatch, right? The mental bounce back is such a crucial factor in any sort of game, right? It depends on the level of stakes you put on it, and it's always going to be a factor that you have to worry about moving forward.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be a matter of that mental game, as it can mean the difference here. Your entire regular season has been strong, but can you try to cap it off here? Can you get your mental reset after losing your first map and say, it's all right, we go again, and go into the next map to try and get yourself sorted here? The next map, however, Megalas, is another sort of brawl style. We did see that brawl style. Eichenwald is the next map, so now it becomes a question of, was what we saw from the side of Shikigami just a little bit of playing off their game here, and can they restabilize for another brawl map?
Yeah, and I feel like this map, it's not going to be as many variables in the mix, right? I feel like both teams are going to run out on the Orisa just off rip, simply because it is the meta right now. You have to accept it. It is what it is. But, I mean, both of these teams really kind of were able to switch it up in a few different ways, right? Shikigami, they showed that they weren't afraid to try to counterpick that Zarya. They pulled out the Winston, the Ramatra. They made it work when they had to. And, I mean, last Dinosaur, when's the last time you've really even seen some Zarya play? It's super nice to see teams willing to opt into that kind of flexibility, especially as we're winding down the regular season, still showing that there's more tools in the arsenal heading into playoffs. It's always something you want to see.
Yeah, definitely. As a former Zarya one-trick, I was very pleased to see the amount of Zarya skill, the amount of Zarya play that we saw in this matchup here. Definitely made me feel a little bit giddy inside, but nonetheless, I mean, it's interesting that you would see these sort of off-meta picks here from the side of Last Dinosaur. It's not really common to see these sort of off-meta picks, especially toward the top. Most teams will opt for those sort of meta compositions, Orisa, of course, being that meta right now. But, it's good to see that there are teams out there that would be wanting to try and take these risks. Last Dinosaur being one of them. They don't care if the meteor is about to hit the Earth. They're going to live life until they die from it. As now we're heading in here to Eichenwald, and that Zarya is back on the table.
Yes, indeed. And it seems like they simply are choosing it for their defense. And hey, if it works for them, it works for whoever. Shikigami, I don't think this is going to be leaving the spawn room. It would be interesting to see, to say the least. But I think if we're looking at this match overall, it's just going to be super interesting. Obviously, Shikigami again. They've got some funny heroes selected, the only one of which I'm trusting right now is Aurora on the Orisa, but this timer is getting low, so you have to start thinking about if this Cassidy and Echo truly do walk out of spawn, it means that they're going to be on Tracer Patrol. They've decided that Zoe is the problem, and that's how they're going to want to deal with things. And they do actually walk out of spawn here, so we're seeing no Lucio in play. Skilla over to the Brigitte, probably on some sort of protection detail for the Baptiste. And mirroring Baptiste, it just means that there's going to be more amplification matrix, no cleanse on either side.
Yeah, well, Shikigami actually making some last-minute swaps. Meanwhile, they're going over to the Ramatra Lucio after seeing that Mari is once again back on this Zarya here. So obviously still want to try to counter this Tracer that has been a nuisance, but J-Man's focusing on more. They want to focus on getting more kills for the side of Shikigami. They get rid of Snozlar, and now that just steamrolls the rest of the objective here for the side of Shikigami, as it's a team wipe within the first or it's basically the entire team dead within 3 seconds.
Yep, and you don't even see the hesitation to swap instantly from Mari over to that Orisa. And it's going to be this counter comp picking until both teams arrive back at the horse. And you already see Aurora didn't even wait to try to lose a fight, just simply ran back into spawn and switched it up. So now both these teams also opting in for the Cassidy here instead of the Sojourn, not valuing the rail, instead that mid-range consistent damage that Cass can bring, as well as, that highly impactful Deadeye after receiving some much-needed buffs. It really is a scary ultimate now.
Yeah, definitely. There's now these two teams meeting here in the gate. We'll see if those Cassidy's are able to get the value that they need here for this objective. So far, both of them just poking out at the opposition. J-Man just sitting in this choke, just trying to poke down at Mari, looking at the high ground as well, trying to find a pick. But meanwhile, Anhu gets killed out here by Zoe. But now that's the go button here for Shikigami, the Last Dinosaur, to try to push forward. And they're starting to find these picks. Nozlar is removed, but Panther is traded here. And now Last Dinosaur able to hold this cart at the gates.
Yeah, this is what I was kind of worried about for Shikigami, because, when all was said and done after the swaps occurred and we were on Orisa Mirror on Nepal, I mean, the last Dinosaur, they took it in spades. They were able to sort of walk away and just win every single fight from there on out. So Shikigami, they really have to unlock not just the Orisa hero, but they have to make sure that they're playing it in synergy with each other and working it out well. Otherwise, there's no point to really swapping to it.
Shikigami trying to make that rotation, trying to take advantage of this Orisa Mari. They're able to force out the Immortality Field and the beat, but Anhu is killed out for it. Now here comes the Terror Surge from Aura, coupled with the Deadeye from J-Man, trying to finish out these kills. AJMR is removed, and J-Man's Deadeye not going to find anything. Snozon, though, looking for a better one of their own. All they do is land it onto Aurora, but they're able to finish out the kill, and the last Dinosaur, once again, is able to take advantage.
Yeah, and now we're just seeing a bit of a stagger fight back and forth here. That pulse, super nice, but I feel like unless some sort of miracle happens, this payload is going to be moving for Shikigami finally after a bit of time burn, and, a lot of ults burnt on both sides as well, and so now that you're looking towards this next fight, right, you're going to be seeing Shikigami come up towards a massive support ult advantage, having that amplification matrix almost online already. Should be able to use it super early here to contest this high ground.
Well, but it's going to be difficult to really contest when you don't have the speed boost to get up there in the first place. Skilla killed out early here by Mari, and now Shikigami is just trying to keep their Orisa alive as they're getting bullied into a corner. It's middle school all over again for Aura, and now the last Dinosaur continue to just put the pressure on the side of Shikigami.
Yeah, I mean, Anhu gets AJMR, their little pick there at the end, but unfortunately it just was too little too late, right? So now Shikigami sent back to the spawn room once again, and they have to figure out a plan to assault this high ground, because last Dinosaur, they're going to be happy to sit up here, especially now that Snozzler is going back over to the Sojourn instead of the Cassidy. Take advantage of those long ranges you have, and those railguns always going to be super lethal here. But it seems like instead of going high ground, they might be attempting to rotate either all the way around. Yeah, they're rotating all the way around instead of just forcing the fight on that castle staircase in front of them.
Last Dinosaur waiting for this engage here. Shikigami getting engaged here with the beat from Skilla. Wicca's answers back with their own. Now the Deadeye and the Amplification Matrix used here from Shikigami as well to trying to clean up this fight. And Wicca sent sky high at a flying frog in the middle of your frame, shot down by J-Man. And now Mari in the wrong place means Shikigami is going to be on the right track to push this card.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Immortality Field coming out, AJMR has that amplification matrix, but unfortunately just too little too late, right? Shikigami, they seem to finally have found some footing, figured stuff out, and now that they've gotten this payload past the bridge, they're not going to have to take a high ground fight unless they lose this next one, getting this cart through the rest of point B. They're probably going to be looking to use this Terror Surge rather aggressively, but it's going to be mirrored on the other side, as well as Snozzler already out with the overclock.
Yeah, last Dinosaur just engaging with his overclock. Snozzler trying to find a crucial pick, but is only able to shed a little bit of damage into multiple targets of Shikigami here. But they're able to find J-Man on the exit, a perfect railgun shot into the Cassidy here. And now Shikigami are down that long-range DPS, and they're forced to retreat as a result. Skilla killed out in the act, and the rest of the team just running for their lives.
Just beautiful play. That's why you swap over the Sojourn right there. You have a little bit more range with those rail gun shots than Cassidy does, and J-Man's even having to bend the knee go over to the Sojourn themselves simply because of the power that it has. So we're now back on the official meta. Besides, somehow, someway, HAMR is now the one on Kiriko, and Panther's the one forced over to the Baptiste, but early pulse bomb from Zoe simply nets the lamp. It seems like we're just going to continue to hold this forward position here for Dinosaurs and see what they can make work.
Mari continuing to push forward, and that's a three-man Terror Surge from Mari. Cleans up the forefront to Aurora, and now Shikigami left with 30 seconds of the time then.
Yeah, we just cut to that so quickly. It was a massive boop from Wicca to keep everybody from Shikigami stuck in that Terror Surge, and so now they're having to try to fight their way out.
They've already been able to fight their way a little bit. They've gotten rid of Snozzler here and are still trying to push through the gates of the last Dinosaur. J-Man is removing the equation, however, but Aurora is able to get the best of their horse adversary. Now trying to get rid of Wicca here as the cart starts moving here with the help of Anhu in the backline, and somehow Shikigami able to recover after that brutal Terror Surge 3K.
Yeah, and sending the Tracer to the cart, making sure that touch secured while you were getting more picks, obviously going to be massive here. Zoe somehow actually still alive, building ever closer to a pulse bomb. It could be the massive influence here, because Shikigami, they have a lot of ultimates heading into this overtime fight.
comes that pulse bomb from Zoe, lands onto the Terra Surging Orisa of Aurora, getting rid of that Orisa in a second, as now the Kitsune Rush right on top of the card here from AJMR keeps everybody from Shikigami away and secures that cart right outside of the gates to the Eichenwald Castle with 121 meters taken by Shikigami.
Well, I gotta give full credit to Last Dinosaur. They are playing on another level right now. Like, this team is just absolutely insane. Their synergy's on point. All of their playmaking potential is on full display here. Everybody's playing their role to a T, and it's just paying off so much for them, making them look so good right now. On the other side of things, Shikigami, you know, for the first time in a long time, they look mortal. No longer these deities on a pillar. They're actually being struck down, and they have to sort of re-question themselves here for a moment. Like, are we still the favorites in this match? Simply because they haven't been able to find exactly what they've been looking for. Now on a bit of variation once again here. J-Man over to the Ashe, and Panther actually sticking with the Baptiste. I don't know, like, AJMR on the Baptiste was getting such insane value, but Panther, you know, the lamps have been good, but the healing just simply isn't connecting in time, and there's times where you think, gosh, maybe a cleanse there could have helped somebody, as well as the Kitsune Rush can just do a little bit more on your offense, but they're in this position now, and they've decided this is what they're going to do for the defense.
We'll see if Shikigami are able to get themselves back up here, try to get this hold that they desperately need here as the Last Dinosaur coming out with this Orisa composition. Once again, Zoe back on that Tracer, Snozlar on the Sojourn here. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. They are running what is considered the meta. Shikigami are the ones not running the meta in this sort of stage, with J-Man on the Ashe here as they make their way over to that Cyclops cart sitting in the middle of point A. Snozlar looking toward this high ground, trying to bait out anybody who's on top of there from the side of Shikigami. Is Zoe and Anu having their biannual Tracer duel at this point, and Anu's gonna get the better of it, gets rid of Zoe to start off the fight here. Now the Last Dinosaur are down that crucial pick, and now with Snozlar out of the picture, they have no DPS left.
Yeah, this first defensive fight actually going in Shikigami's favor, which is exactly what they needed after that offense where it didn't exactly look the cleanest at any single point outside of their first fight. So it's good that they've been able to do this, and now actually getting a bit of a stagger here onto AJMR before the spear from Aurora finally giving that Kiriko the sweet release of death. But yeah, so you just kind of need a little bit more of that, right? Putting Zoe sort of just on notice, getting Anhu in their face with these Tracer duels, not necessarily even having to win them outright, just being able to keep that Tracer at bay, letting the rest of Shikigami work is exactly what needs to happen.
Anhu almost loses the Tracer duel after winning it before. They were forced to back up to the health pack here, but they're still looking for the value here with this pulse bomb. They stick it onto the car, but aren't able to find any sort of kills with it, except maybe the engine of that car. And now Last Dinosaur have this Kitsune Rush from AJMR, and Zoe is once again on the flank looking for the backline. The window comes out from Panther, and they're able to get rid of Snozlar as they were booped off the high ground from Wicca, and they're met with a bullet to the face as well. Here is that Lucio, and now Last Dinosaur once again are cleaned off the face of the earth.
It's a trade you are willing to take, though, if you're Last Dinosaur. You forced out both support ultimates from Shikigami and traded simply for your Kitsune Rush, so now you have that slight ult advantage here. The big thing you might have to watch out for, though, is Bob from J-Man, right? That's just a 1200 HP target that's going to constantly be firing out damage, something that has to be addressed. And if you turn to give it too much attention for too long, then the rest of Shikigami will move in, especially off the back of this Terra Surge, potentially.
Zoe trying to find out Z-Panther as that Bob is unleashed into the small corridor. Actually is brought back onto the objective here. The pulse bomb from Zoe is a whiff, but Snozlar's overclocked, able to get rid of Aura, and Zoe finds Skyla in the aftermath of the pulse bomb. So Last Dinosaur finally in a position to try and take this point for their own. The Zanhu is trying to bring this back, though, uses the pulse bomb and forces out the Terror Surge from Mari as the point starts counting up.
Yeah, AJMR down, though, so this could be a brutal recontest here. You see the Dynamite already, and the Doomfist is back in action.
Oh, and Zoe almost gets the one clip onto J-Man, but they turn around, shoot a bullet into the head, and punch that Tracer back into spawn. And now with a minute left, Last Dinosaur got 2 ticks, but it's not enough to claim first point.
It's not enough, and now they have Z Panther with another amplification matrix online. It should be massive here. Last Dinosaur, you're gonna have to play this rather quickly. They're choosing to switch over to the Zarya, knowing that Aurora is stuck on this Doomfist, at least for the time being here. So it is going to be a massive sort of attempt at counterplaying back and forth, but Aurora is really gonna have a tough time into this one, trying to find any target to isolate.
Zarya from Mari was able to get the win on Nepal earlier. We'll see if they're able to do exactly the same here on Eichenwald with 20 seconds left in the time bank for the last Dinosaur. Just trying to look for any sort of crucial pick. They start out with the Kitsune Rush, and AJMR lands a kunai into J-Man's head. Now Zoe going for the flank, lands a perfect pulse bomb onto the Baptista Panther, but isn't able to get the final blow. Meanwhile, the rest of Shikigami, just too much pressure coming out from last Dinosaur to contest the point as it flips over.
Yeah, and just, unfortunately, it was just too overwhelming in those final moments. Last Dinosaur, they applied the pressure exactly where it needed to be. Zoe played that perfectly, being able to harass both supports, even forcing out the Immortality Field onto both of them, and still netting those kills. Now Shikigami, they're over to the Ramatra. Again, we're playing the counter pick compositions back and forth here, but the big counter pick is J-Man, just still on a long-range character. You're seeing the Ashe get so much value just firing off this high ground.
Yeah, definitely Shikigami are taking advantage of that pressure, already pushing right into the side of Last Dinosaur. Mari is punched back to the spawn orb, and Snozlar is hit out by their X. The Shikigami able to hold this cart right where Last Dinosaur were able to hold it before.
Yeah, and now we're seeing a very similar fight to what Shikigami experienced on their own offense. But Last Dinosaur already back over to the Orisa, and they're going to put Snozlar back onto that Sojourn, which means there will be a bit of this range duel back and forth now. But the Ashe has the Bob online already, as well as is able probably just to free fire for a very long time. Sojourn has to peek to try to earn that rail, to try to mitigate that Ashe at least a little bit.
Anhu looking for this pulse bomb in the meanwhile, tries to land it onto the Orisa. It doesn't stick, but it still lands the final blow in the Mari, getting rid of the crucial presence that Last Dinosaur needs to even attempt an engage.
Yeah, and that's just off the back of Pulse Bomb. You don't have to invest anything else. It's such a fast-building ultimate. You're okay with it. But Zoe being massive.
Zoe finding two before the fight, basically when the fight ends. Two crucial picks as well. Snozlar, Anhu is having to run back alongside of that Lucio of Skyla. Zoe's going to eventually having to retreat here as they are burning at the seams here. But now Last Dinosaur have an opportunity.
Yeah, it's a super massive opportunity, except the recall being forced here. Not what you want to see, and the Bob already out from J-Man means there's a lot of zoning potential coming out. As we're already dipping below a minute here, Last Dinosaur, they really have to be able to piece something together.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be hard to do that when your Kiriko's out of the fight here, as Last Dinosaur seem to be in two separate bursts right now, but they finally reconvene alongside their Orisa, and Anhu is sliced down trying to go for the flank. Zoe once again starting to pop up in the kill feed again. They get rid of Skyla, force out the Immortality from Z Panther, and keep this cart moving for Last Dinosaur.
Yeah, but Shikigami, I mean, they're almost okay with this, right? You have the Amplification Matrix, you just got two picks, you're heading towards Final Fight potential with your own Ramatra Annihilation online here. It could be massive.
Yeah, the Kitsune Rush also burned here from AJMR. Is now 5 seconds on the clock. It's only Wicca and Mari trying to keep themselves alive in this fight. Skyla just trying to wall right around, but they'll eventually get killed out by the horse. That Annihilation from Aurora just burning down the field here, trying to burn down everybody here on this Ramatra, but they'll eventually get burned down by Zoe, and now the Last Dinosaur still pushing this card forward. Anhu wins the Tracer duel against Zoe in the crucial matter at only 24% of the pulse bomb, but they are going to have to be the one to touch as Last Dinosaur are nearing that golden box of victory fast.
Yeah, and you're seeing just sort of a beautiful counter comp picking here back and forth. Snozlar, the only one to be able to stay on cart, and it seems like it's just too little too late. Shikigami finally coming alive. I wrote them off a little bit, but they definitely had the synergy there to get a good defense going, and so now we're tied up all 1-1.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the fact that Last Dinosaur had to stay on that cart was what really was the detriment to them. You had J-Man playing on the high ground toward the end of that, just able to free fire from afar. There was that beautiful one clip onto the Tracer, just denying the kill from Zoe. But really, it seemed like Shikigami were able to get themselves alive. Even in the midst of panic, they were still able to keep themselves composed and be able to come out on top. So a very strong presence here from Shikigami, showing that they are willing to try and get the top. They're willing to try to be the better of the two in this matchup.
Yeah, and they did it pretty well, right? I feel like I watched two different teams. Shikigami's offense, it was a little bit whimsical. That everybody was just kind of going around. It was sort of just whatever happened. But their defense, it was like, it's like those memes you see, right? They sat up, they put their game face on, they picked up the controller, they knew exactly what they had to do, and you know, they did it well. They finally were actually able to put a stop to Last Dinosaurs simply running all over them. So now, you know, like we said, tied up 1-1, this series truly can go anywhere.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely seemed like Shikigami entered into that gamer phase. I wish I had a controller on me, but imagine me just leaning forward with the controller right now. That is exactly what they did there, being able to be in serious mode and get themselves into that situation. Now comes the question, can they continue this momentum here, Last, especially as we're entering map number 3, Surabasa and Flashpoint?
Yeah, and Flashpoint, it's always a tricky one that you have to consider, right? Regardless of which Flashpoint map you're going to. Obviously, like you said, we're Surabasa here. Because whatever's generally the meta reigns supreme, so I'm expecting to see more of the Orisa, but, you know, it's very fast-paced, always, right? You have the different points, you have different ways that you can cycle your ultimates, right? Do you potentially sacrifice an entire point just so that way you can give yourself an ult advantage fight on the next point in positioning? There's so many different factors to try to consider, you know, on Flashpoint maps, and again, it just comes down to the tempo that these teams want to play at, and neither of them seem to be shying away. After that first map, I was worried it'd be a bit one-sided, but no, both these teams, they're willing to go toe-to-toe, they're willing to put the pedal to the metal in terms of just running it down, and it's just creating such a good match for us right now.
Yeah, definitely. Even though the compositions are the same, the match has been enthralling here, Megalas. But once again, we see both of these teams opting in for the mirror compositions. I believe this is the first time we're seeing both teams start on this mirror composition, actually.
Nah, well, guess what? There's a Baptiste in play. You got baited.
Okay, never mind. Close to the mirror composition as we've gotten in a bit here.
Yeah, exactly, and it's just sort of been this back and forth of who believes Baptiste is better, and AJMR back in the saddle on that one, deciding that it's better, but they also gave Last Dinosaurs the better positioning for the moment, right? Sojourn being able to play on those high grounds like Snozlar was for a moment before sliding back down. It's always going to be where exactly you want to be, and that's why you're seeing Wicca even hold this other high ground just to keep anybody from going up there.
As is right now the battle of brick wall versus brick wall, but J-Man is going to cut the hole out first, getting rid of the head of Snozlar. Now Last Dinosaur are down their long-range DPS, and Shikigami take that as the go button, pedal to the metal, 200 miles an hour, and no looking back.
Yeah, no reason to. You're able to take out the main opposition. Snozlar, no range damage means that you close that distance while J-Man just fires down those rails from above. Again, that high ground positioning is just perfect for this first point of Surabasa here in the market. And so now Shikigami, they can kind of rotate around, figure out exactly where they want to take this fight. And they don't even have to give them access to the point. That's the great thing. Last Dinosaur, they're going to have to earn every single inch to get back into this one with a cooldown, with some effort, something.
Come on, Last Dinosaur to just utilize their cooldowns, the flank from Zoe, everything has to be pitch perfect. Might be easier with that Suzu being brought out of the equation, but now the Kitsune Rush from Panther is going to make it a lot harder here. Shikigami can just press the W key once again and go full throttle, but AJMR and Snozlar are able to get rid of the support line, so Shikigami overstepping their welcome, and now all of a sudden their gas pedal is starting to become flimsy, and they're not going as fast as they wanted to, opening the door for Last Dinosaur to try and take this point back.
Yeah, it was just, you know, it was hubris, right? You got punished for getting way too aggressive far too quickly. Sure, you're able to get overtime, but that's just the nature of Flashpoint. These fights go long, and it means that these points cap extremely quickly. But yeah, I mean, they felt confident off the back of the Kitsune Rush. It didn't end up working out for them, so now Shikigami, they have a lot of other tools to work with, but Last Dinosaur, they didn't have to expend anything to win that fight, so it's going to be a heavy ult invest from both of these teams here. It really comes down to who's able to find the best value out of everything.
Get ready for your weekly dose of Overwatch 1 Ghosts. There's 9 ultimates on the field here. It's just a matter of who's going to be able to hit the queue first. Shikigami currently set up on the opposite side, waiting for their opportunity to engage. Last Dinosaur going to use the amplification matrix early here to try to keep them away from that and continue counting up the percentage.
Yeah, use it as a zoning tool, not have to worry about anything, and it gives Snozlar this positioning up here on the high ground. Shikigami respecting it, doing a peaceful disengage before coming back in here. But we'll be J-Man with the overclock first.
And here comes the overclock from J-Man, the Terror Surge from Aurora, the overclock from Snozlar, ults flying left and right and center. The kitchen sink might be included in that mess, but Anhu is able to get the first blood, gets rid of Zoe to start off the engage here, and now, with all the ultimates expended, -1 from Mari, it is now Shikigami trying to make their way back in, and J-Man's getting able to get rid of Wicca here, but Terror Surge from Mari has to be the savior, but it's not going to be able to do enough. It doesn't find any sort of kills, and Shikigami used that as advantage to take markets.
Yeah, you walk forward with the Terror Surge, it just means that the rest of the team was a little bit too vulnerable, right? With Zoe out of the fight, that Tracer's not able to mitigate any of those flank presences at all, so it is what it is. You have to be able to just sort of take that one, a little bit of scrape on the knee here. As we are now heading out to the temple, Shikigami will be able to get some early positioning here on the point in their favor, of course. And Last Dinosaur, again, they're having to play catch up in terms of this positioning here. Shikigami, they really have hit their stride so far.
Yeah, Shikigami seem to be back in this engage. The question is if they can keep this dominance to their own here. Last Dinosaur taking this wide rotation onto the side. AJMR is a little bit caught off from the rest of the team, but they'll be able to regroup as now Last Dinosaur is starting to push into the objective here. Shikigami starting to capture the percentage, but it's not going to be a flawless cap. Sea Panther, however, is going to initiate with the Kitsune Rush, and that forces Last Dinosaur back.
Yeah, it's what it has to do, and Anhu is going to be looking to probably punish on the other side of things. But you don't even need it.
Mari now taken out of the equation, but the amplification matrix from AJMR is invested, and now Last Dinosaur taking advantage of the over-aggression from Shikigami, burning them down with the help of AJMR's amplification matrix, and taking the point back.
The fact that we were able to trade Orissas there is so significant. I saw Mari go down and was like, okay, yeah, this is a chalked fight, but Last Dinosaur, they dig their heels in, they realize the 4v4 situation's winnable, they have the amplification matrix utilized perfectly to create the space needed, and now Mari actually over to the Zarya again, looking to potentially do some more counterpicking, like we saw on Nepal, but the question is, will it work out, or will this just create another swap war where we're over to the Ramatra before we're both back on Orisa?
And that Zarya was able to net the Last Dinosaur the victory on the first map, so we'll see if it works to their favor here. Aurora automatically going straight for it, just trying to get rid of that Zarya's impactfulness in this fight as the Tracers of Anhu and Zoe battle it out, but J-Man gets rid of Wicca in the backline. Aurora now forced to use the Terror Surge, and what a stick from Zoe! Once again onto the Lucio, but it might not even matter as it's still Shikigami finding these kills one by one. Aurora, 1 health to the name, but it's just going to be enough to keep them alive, and now with Mari falling, Shikigami get the point back.
Yeah, and it was super impactful that Anhu lived that with the 1 HP, able to take Zoe out of it, because then, as you saw, they were able to come back in. The only other person left alive in that fight was Aurora on the Orisa, and they had to give respect over to the Zarya, realizing Mari could burn them down at any single point, but now heading into the next fight, it's going to be dueling overclocks, as well as potentially Anhu hitting another massive pulse bomb. These Tracers really have been the stars of the show so far, and you can see why with the talent they both possess.
Snozlar, one of the people to have that overclock. We'll see if they're able to best J-Man here with their own overclock. Snozlar's the first one to pull the trigger, J-Man the second, but Snozlar already being booped back over to Oblivion, just trying to find anything, and they're able to get rid of Wicca to start off the engage. Zoe also dropped extremely low as Shikigami now just trying to continue this pressure and keep away the Last Dinosaur. Overtime is triggered, but the Last Dinosaur don't have a lot of resources to play with. They have this amplification matrix, but they don't have a Tracer with Zoe out of the picture. Mari now the only person who can take advantage of that amplification matrix. Snozlar, however, is able to get rid of J-Man in the backline. Meanwhile, the rest of Last Dinosaur are trying to make their way in. Mari is booped off the map at the end of the day, and Shikigami just trying to clean up the remaining factions. It's just the supports of the Last Dinosaur alive, trying to keep themselves alive in the act, but they'll eventually get trampled on by the Hordes. And at the end of the day, Shikigami now at flashpoint, map point.
Yeah, Shikigami, they really have come online here. Last Dinosaur, they're on their counter comp, and they believe that it, can be a counter still. Sure, it can work out in your favor, especially when you get early positioning like you're seeing them get right now here in Palace, but it is a little bit rough. AJMR over to the Kiriko now, giving that one up, so it is just the tanks that are splitting hairs over which one's going to be the better right now, and you're seeing phenomenal position from Zoe here, potentially looking for the backline.
Zoe and Anhu most likely both trying to go for this flank strategy. Anhu trying to spot out Zoe to make sure that they can't get the value on this Tracer that last Dinosaur would hope for, as the flashpoint is unlocked, but the high ground is the priority right now. Zoe is going to be able to contest it here for the side of last Dinosaur as Aurora tries to push forward with this Terra Surge in hand. Mari, however, is using the Graviton Surge in the backline and already get rid of J-Man with the help of Snozlar. The Terra Surge from Aurora finds nothing, and they'll be made with a face of beam here as they're burned down to the ground by Mari, and the last Dinosaur cleaning up the picks.
And that was just some great ult tracking, right? Knowing Skilla was only a few percentage points away, but those few percentage points were simply enough to make sure that that Graviton found the value it needed. So now Last Dinosaur have themselves a foothold in this point. They have the positioning already, but you know, Shikigami, again, they're walking back in. Both support ults already online to their name. AJMR with that swap onto Kiri, a little bit late to the Kitsune War.
Comes Panther starting out with the Kitsune Rush. Aurora back on this Ramatra as well, just trying to pressure out the Zarya here. Skilla forced to use this beat early, but it's going to pay off as now Mari brought out of the equation here by J-Man. Zoe going to try to contest, but it's too late to the party as Shikigami flip it over.
Yeah, and now Shikigami, they're the ones with the aggressive positioning here. Mari over to the Orisa. Is again this swap war between the tanks, forcing them to be uncomfortable at different points here. But you're seeing Aurora actually get caught out a little bit here with that pulse bomb in tow. Means that a lot of resources just had to go into Aurora just to keep them alive and continuing in this fight. And now with Snozlar popping, oh my goodness!
Oh, well, they're popping themselves. They're not popping anything except their own body. They're blown up by the pulse bomb from Anhu, and that sets up the engage perfectly for Shikigami, just cleaning up the engage once again.
Wow, that pulse bomb was massive, because I was about to say Snozlar with this overclock could do just about anything, but you know, Shikigami, they're ticking up towards this map win here, and Last Dinosaur, they really don't have a place to get in effectively. They're gonna have to probably burn this Kitsune Rush just to try to get into the point.
Yeah, and that's not looking that's looking very grim. They have to pop that Kitsune Rush, as you mentioned, but Wicca is removed here. The overclock from J-Man just helping clean up the rest of the scraps. Overtime is triggered, but AJMR is removed, and now it's only Mari on this objective. They are able to get rid of Skyla and J-Man, but it's for their life here. It's now all that's left is Zoe on this Tracer, just trying to stall it out. They'll eventually die to the hands of Z Panther, and now that Sombra of Snozlar just trying to stall out the inevitable. Wicca's back in, but they are brought down to the ground, and Shikigami with a dominant win here on Surabasa to go to match point.
This is the Shikigami I was expecting to see in this game. They're making Last Dinosaur pay for that lost map with everything that they've got. And, you know, you're seeing them come online perfectly here. Obviously, a nice little play of the game, a little homage over to that beautiful implication matrix. But, hey, play of the games don't win you the map at the end of the day. And Shikigami, they are in a position to win this series. They can still finish 8-0. Even with that little map blemish on the scoreboard. And if I'm not mistaken, they could still even earn the #1 seed even with that one lost map.
Yeah, definitely Shikigami are looking in a very good position here to try and take the #1 seed even after losing that golden stage, the golden regular season potential here. So maybe they'll be able to do exactly that here, but we're heading into a map number 4 here, Megalas. And Shikigami, again, we mentioned how they've had the golden season. We've never seen them on a map number 4. Last Dinosaur have gone to a map 4. They lost it, but they've gone to a map 4. So the question becomes, is Shikigami ready for the map 4?
Yeah, it's, you know, that's always going to be the question, right? Depends on how much practice you put in. Surely, I assume they've just never practice push, right? I'm assuming they don't just scrim 3 maps and say, okay, we're done here for the day. But yeah, it's super, super interesting to see them on push for the first time in the regular season here. And it's going to be on New Queen Street of all maps, you know. I'd say of the push maps, it's definitely, I'd say it's like probably the most balanced. Like, there's not some crazy thing. I know people like to say, oh, Esperanza's great, but I don't know. I'm very partial to New Queen Street. I enjoy the layout, the snake trails back and forth where everything feels really close. You're able to get in with each other. Granted, I think it would be a lot more interesting if we had more variants, but I think we're just going to see 2 Orissas slamming their spears into each other once more.
Yeah, New Queen Street could definitely have some balance to it. I also really feel like it is the map known for overtime finishes Many teams have been able to get an overtime finish all the way when they were in the disadvantage on New Queen Street. So we'll see if that's going to be the case here today as we load into Toronto for our 4th map of the series. Shikigami 1 map away from getting at least an undefeated season with 1 map loss to the record. Last Dinosaur, however, need to try and win this map if they want to keep their hopes of a win alive.
Yeah, they still want to be able to end this one 7-1, and again, they already have shown that they can go toe-to-toe with this Shikigami squad. Both those first 2 maps incredibly close. I'd say even Nepal was in their favor. But, yeah, I mean, Shikigami, they're playing out of their minds, especially after that lovely game of Servasa. Now, for the first time in this match, we're on the true mirror out of the spawn doors, and it's going to come down to, look at this Tracer and Lucio duel you're seeing happen on the side here. It truly is just both of them working in tandem together to sort of create these flank opportunities.
Yeah, definitely. The Lucio and Tracer working in tandem in the tunnels, just trying to bait out the opposition here. You also have J-Man just trying to poke out, trying to find any of the stragglers in that engage, while they're trying to also force out the opposition. Zoe dropping extremely low, 9 health to the name. They're forced to retreat away from that Tracer 1v1, and that's going to open the door a bit here for Shikigami to really get an advantage of their own. You already see Aurora pushing forward, and Skyla boots off 2, down into the depths, sealing the deal for Shikigami.
Yeah, that Lucio took advantage of the fact that everybody was just a little bit too close to that map's edge. You got to remember, those Lucio boobs are very, very powerful nowadays, and something that you got to think about. BOTD, I'm not sure what that stands for.
Probably Boop of the Day, maybe?
Boop of the Day. I was going to say I'm a Zombies player. That stands for Blood of the Dead, but that's besides the point. You know, heading into the next engage, you're seeing Last Dinosaur be able to hold this corner here, and they might even get an early Kitsune rush. AJMR been building towards it a little bit faster than Panther has.
Definitely the benefit of having your team take so much damage is you're able to heal a lot more here. So the Last Dinosaur will be beating Shikigami to that Kitsune rush battle here. But Shikigami still in the advantage right now, trying to find these picks. J-Man still in the tunnel here as that Kitsune rush is going to come out from both Kirikos here around the same time. Now both teams trying to duel at each other. Snozlard is able to get the better of Anhu to start the engage. And now Shikigami are down there flanking pressure, but they still have this overclock coming out here from J-Man, the Terror Surge from Aurora, and the beat from Skilla to try and keep them all alive. Link answers back with their own, and it's still a back and forth affair, but the pulse bomb from Zoe is going to land right into Aurora and start turning the deal around for the Last Dinosaur.
Yeah, even losing Snozlar, it seems as though this one's going to be cleaned up in Last Dinosaur's favor. J-Man does get 2, though, so, you know, nothing to sneeze at here. And the Tracer being back in time, now you're seeing Anhu run for their lives. Oh, but Zoe! I was starting to worry the Tracer duel was going one way, but Zoe said, hold my beverage. Oh my goodness gracious, now looking forward to the next fight. Last Dinosaur, slight ult advantage here. They have the Terror Surge as well as that Overclock. A deadly combo with no B in sight on the other side for Shikigami to try to hide from this one. So I could very easily see Last Dinosaur using this to get a solid lead.
There's definitely the potential for Last Dinosaur to take this lead away. Aurora is trying to stop them 7 meters away from that golden line of the lead here as the overclock from Snozlar pushing the entire team back, and Zoe still on their flanking shenanigans gets rid of J-Man. So now no long range pressure here for Shikigami. Last Dinosaur now pushing in the lead.
Yeah, and you're seeing how far Mari is playing on this Orisa, right? Just scaring everybody back, trying to help net this checkpoint here. And it seems like Shikigami, they're willing to give it up. They're willing to give those forward spawns away to Last Dinosaur for the moment and re-engage exactly when they need to. But Last Dinosaur, they're still holding on to this Terror Surge, and they're going to be able to match this Kitsune rush here in just a second.
We saw the match of Kitsune rushes go the way of Last Dinosaur before. Zoe with the pulse bomb does not stick it on anybody, unfortunately. Almost got the stick, I believe, onto the Lucio, but now the Kitsune rush used here from AJMR, from Z Panther, answered back with AJMR. The Last Dinosaur is still trying to keep this card contested for the meanwhile. Mari and Aurora battling in the backline, but here comes that Terror Surge from the Orisa, just trying to plow it in the backline as Zoe's able to best their adversary on the Tracer, and the Last Dinosaur continue this momentum.
Yeah, and they're building the momentum perfectly. They're cycling these ults so that way everything's coming online at just the right time. You know, you're looking forward here. You see that, oh, it's only Wicca here with the sound barrier, but guess what? That means J-Man's overclock should be negated properly as long as they're able to get that one to the ground without an Ajax occurring. And everybody else's ultimates, they're coming online just so perfectly timed, and it's allowing Last Dinosaur to continue build more and more of a lead here and push Shikigami further and further behind.
Looking for the initial pick. They pop the overclock and get rid of Snozlar. Zoe also removed here from the equation before the beat can even be unleashed. No beat is going to be used here from Wicca. All that's left is Mari. They'll get burned to the ground by Panther. And J-Man with 3 in that fight, sealing the deal.
Yeah, I guess, it doesn't matter if Wicca has the sound barrier online. If you're able to just find picks with the overclock before it can even be thought to be applied there, J-Man truly being the hero that Shikigami needed in the moment. So now, with this payload, or with this push bot rather, coming back to their side of the map, they have to figure out exactly what they're going to do now for this rest of this offense.
Dinosaur trying to continue this defense, however, and Zoe's post bomb lands on the Skilla, getting rid of the sound boost and one of the only 2 ultimates that Shikigami have online. They're forced to retreat once again here. Last Dinosaur moving that bot forward once again, but they do get the pulse bomb stick on the Snozlar on, who gets that crucial pick that could get him in the re-engage.
Yeah, and this re-engage is just going to go back and forth now. It depends on who's willing to invest ultimates. Pulse bomb's always something you can just kind of chuck in there at will, but the Orisa's meeting on the cart here.
Orisa's facing off once again here. Mari and Aurora just battling each other one by one, but the last Dinosaur forced to secede all of its positioning as Shikigami now pushing that bot forward. Continuing rush from AJMR is going to be used to get them over to the objective here, but no farther than that as Shikigami are still looking for their opportunity to try and get a re-engage.
Absolutely, and you're seeing this re-engage this back and forth. It just means more time burn, which is what last Dinosaurs will happily take. Now with an overclock being used from Snozlar here, super interesting to use it this early.
It's going to force back the members of Shikigami, however, and bring that bot almost to the checkpoint here for the side of Last Dinosaur. Shikigami now engaged here with the Kitsune Rush. Forces out the beat here from Wicca as they're still trying to find this advantage. Anhu gets rid of Mari, however, so now the Orisa gone from the side of Last Dinosaurs means Shikigami have an opportunity to push this bot in their favor. But Skilla is once again removed from the fight from Snozlar with no beat being used. So again, Anhu trying to bring this back with the pulse bomb. They don't land on anybody, and now Snozlar finds a second onto J-Man, continuing to try and turn this around as they burn down Panther to the ground and continue the push from the Last Dinosaur.
Yeah, and this has been about 3 or 4 fights here that have occurred where Shikigami, even if they win a fight, they haven't gained any progress. They're still at that 36-meter mark that they set from their original push here. You're going to see Zoe just push this bot forward as far as they can and then back up, because Last Dinosaur, they're more than happy to take this corner fight over and over again. They have great positioning here. They know exactly how to kite. They know how to play it perfectly, and they have such a large lead. It really is on Shikigami to figure this one out.
Shikigami have to try to find the answer and fast here, as they're going to be pushing the bot a little bit, but it seems like they want to try to take this tunnel route for the most part. Anhu, however, looking for the backline with this Tracer, trying to find that crucial pulse bomb as the overclock from J-Man is unleashed, just trying to lodge bullets into anything in sight, but the bot is blocking away the only target in sight. But J-Man's still able to clean out Mari, but Zoe's found 2. J-Man tried to answer back. They've found 2 in this fight for their own. Now the Tracer of J-Man, now the Tracer of Zoe just trying to run away as the Last Dinosaur are forced to give up that checkpoint again.
Yep, once again, resetting the forward spawns another time here. And it actually means that AJMR gets the back spawn here, so this Kiriko not going to be able to fight right away. This could be an opening for Shikigami if they choose to take this aggression, but it seems like because they're short-handed, they're just waiting for their team to regroup, so it will be a full team fight here for this bot. But finally, Shikigami actually has the fight in a position where if they win, the bot will get progress.
2 minutes left in the time bank here. Last Dinosaur is still trying to hold this spot right at the corner by this Tim Hortons. As still, Shikigami are trying to find the advantage that they need to continue this bot pushing forward. Anhu is trying to look in the backline for a target, and all they're going to be finding is the spawn room. They're killed out by their adversary in Zoe, and now Last Dinosaur have found that crucial pick and are forcing Shikigami back.
Yeah, and finding that pick is super massive, so now Shikigami again going to be sent spiraling back, but J-Man trying to come back into this one.
They get rid of AJMR, but the Kitsune Rush was used by that Kiriko before they died. Anhu able to get the kill on Zoe as well, as it is literally a back and forth affair. People dying on every single side, but it's Last Dinosaur still with the advantage. They still have this Orisa up, at least for the meanwhile, but they're burned out by Anhu as I say that. Now with just the supports on the bot, Shikigami have to make a decision here with 1 minute left.
Yeah, and that decision has to be to get this payload moving, or push bot, I should say. I don't know why my brain is still in payload escort 4th map syndrome, but yeah, this should be, again, some forward progress actually being obtained here. There will be a fight before the checkpoint here, but Last Dinosaurs, if they realize that they have a massive ult advantage where they could just push the tempo before Shikigami can get these ultimates online their last few percent.
J-Man looking in this room, trying to find that crucial pick to start off. As Shikigami, they need to win these next few fights in order to win this map here. J-Man looking on the tunnel, trying to find that advantage. Zoe's looking in the backline here, but they are not able to get anything off. They're shut out by a railgun. Now J-Man initiates with the overclock, trying to find these crucial picks. They're pumping so many bullets into this golden horse right in front of them. Meanwhile, Wicca is removed from the engage. J-Man is going to sacrifice their life for the win here for the side of Shikigami with 10 seconds left.
And I'm feeling chills, Bowsy, because you started this map out by saying this is a map that finishes in overtime, and you've seen some crazy things before. I mean, nothing would be crazier than this, right? You still have to get about 40 meters going for Shikigami here after getting this checkpoint unlocked, and they're doing it short-handed, and I mean, last time they realized it.
Last Dinosaur just pushing the aggression as fast as they can. Wicca uses the sound barrier to keep everybody sustained. Skill is back, uses the sound barrier to keep Aurora alive, and now the pulse bomb from Anhu is landed onto Larissa Mari. So far, it's just been wounds. No kills have been resulted as now the Kitsune Rush comes out from Z-Panther and Shikigami. Immediately press that W key. Wicca is removed off the face of the earth, and now they continue to push this aggression. AJMR now responds with their own Kitsune Rush, but the Last Dinosaur are down to Lucio, and they need to win this fight.
Yeah, it's going to be a final fight here. The Terror Surge is probably going to be a massive zoning tool that you have to worry about. Somebody's got to stay on bot to die to this Terror Surge more than likely.
Dazzler uses the overclock here. Zoe also uses the pulse bomb, but it is a whiff as now Last Dinosaur used both of their DPL cells and it found nothing. Here comes the Terror Surge from Mari, trying to get any sort of value, but Aurora is able to get rid of Zoe, but the kills are all blue in the kill feed. Mari's Terror Surge might have just been the cherry on top for Last Dinosaur to claim this map victory for their own. J-Man and Anhu not long for this world, and the Last Dinosaur are bringing us to a map number 5.
Not ready to fall over just yet, and proving that they can still stick it to Shikigami officially on the mirror, and now we truly have a series on our hand. Both these teams have been striking blows back and forth against each other pretty much across every single role. We've seen pop-offs from both teams. How on earth does J-Man get credit for this play of the game? No offense. Like, J-Man, you're cool and all, but this was this was a Lucio moment that you just robbed. That you just absolutely stole.
Yeah, definitely. They may have stolen the play of the game, but the Last Dinosaur are the ones running away with the bank right now, bringing us to a crucial map number 5 here, Megalast. That could be the deciding factor here in this matchup. Not only is it a map number 5, it's a tiebreaker map, but it's an escort map, as you mentioned, but it's an escort map here, so we'll have to see if these teams are ready for escort, because in the regular season, neither of them have played escort all season.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's a map that, because it's been moved to the map 5 slot, you don't see it all too often. And, you know, at least it'll make sense now that I'm saying payload. Knowing my luck, I'll start calling it T51 here. But yeah, it's super fun that we're actually getting to go to escort here for the final map. And really, both these teams are putting on a show, right? Obviously, you want to argue, oh, this is regular season. This is a big show off to either of these two teams. They come into this, 2 and 3 in the standings. Both these teams want to be able to punch their tickets one way or another here. And I mean, hey, Last Dinosaurs, they still have the potential to sort of overstep Shikigami, maybe steal that number 2 seed with a win, depending on how map diff shakes out and things of that nature. And Shikigami, they may not have the golden season anymore, but they can still at least look for that 8-0 finish.
Yeah, definitely. Don't worry about calling the bot the wrong thing. I definitely called the bot cart at least multiple times in my Overwatch cast. Nonetheless, though, speaking of cart, we're heading over to that escort map here. What's interesting, Megalast, is of course we've seen the Sarissa comp, we've seen Brawl style throughout the entirety of the series. Our escort map is Junkertown. That's not a Brawl map. At least it typically historically has not been. Do we see some different compositions here from both of these teams?
I am hoping. I'm not gonna, say that we will, because the Orisa meta is pretty strong. We have some mumblings in the background, and this is what I was hoping to see. The most balanced tank there has ever been in Overwatch. I will stamp my name on that. Sigma is here to stay. I love Sigma mirrors. It's such an actual display of skill from any tank to go toe-to-toe on the Sigma. Of course, we also have some fun Widowmakers in play to be able to get these long-range sightlines working in their team's favor. And interestingly enough, whether they realize it or not, they've also opted into a Genji mirror here. I don't know if that was intentional, if both Tracers just decided, yeah, Tracer's not for me right now. But hey. I mean, hey, who knows?
We'll see, as actually Anhu is going to unfortunately get rid of that potential for a Genji duel here. They're going to be going over to the Tracer for their own, but I mean, I alluded to it. The non-brawl compositions, both teams opting for this spam comp with the Sigmas and the Widowmakers. Snozlar looking to try and get this first pick onto their opposition, or looking for any sort of pick, just flinging that mice around. They do land a shot into Panther, but it's not a killing blow here. Anhu, meanwhile, trying to look for the flank here. The Zenyatta of Wicca is on the low ground as they start diving right on top of them, but there's enough support there to keep that Zenyatta alive for the moment.
Yeah, and that's a key difference, right? Zenyatta for Last Dinosaurs here on the defense. Meanwhile, the offense, Shikigami opting in for Skilla to play that Kiriko. Obviously, Cleanse is nice, but the damage plus the Discord Orb doesn't matter.
Yeah, the damage from a Discord Orb is not going to matter when your head is cut off. J-Man finding 2 to start off this engage, getting rid of both Snozlar and Wicca in this fight. Trying to run away now from the Baptiste of AJMR, but the damage has been done.
Yeah, and now the last one to fall will be the Sigma here. And unfortunately, that's the thing. These Widowmaker duels, they can decide the entirety of the game. And Snozlar opting out of it fairly quickly. I feel like that was a little too quickly. Almost like an ego thing of realizing J-Man might just be better than you on the Widow. Over to the Sojourn now. And we're seeing Wicca onto the Brig here. Potentially just to try to, I guess, provide protection either for Snozlar or AJMR. Potentially both if they all decide to play together.
Very difficult.
I love how Headrammer's.
Yeah, Headrammer's been talking to us, trying to bring up Zoe here on this Genji a few times in this matchup. Nonetheless, so Shikigami now also making the swap over to the Sojourn of themselves here, trying to push into this small corridor here. Zoe currently contesting the cart, just barely able to keep themselves alive here against that Tracer of Anhu. Right now, it's just a poking phase between both of these teams, both looking for that first engage, and Zoe's going to get it first. Slices off the head of J-Man, is going to be caught here by the Gravitic Flux here from Aurora, just trying to stop the pressure. And now Mari just pushing out a little bit too far for their team to keep them alive as they are burned down by Aurora. And now Shikigami in a good position to continue moving this card forward.
Yeah, fun fact, this card has just been moving this whole time, behind the scenes. So sure, you might be winning some good fights in the spawn here, but that payload is just moving for Shikigami.
Yeah, it's currently just the Kiriko of Skilla on the objective. Unfortunately, they're going to be killed out by Wicca. No one to teleport to in sight, but still, you push that card 67 meters, Michaelas. That's a lot of progress.
I mean, yeah, you wrapped it all the way around, so now it's just in a one-fight range, and you give space to the rest of Shikigami to be able to take these initial high grounds, not having to worry about a potential spawn hold. And it's going to be looking like another heavy ult fight here. Both teams building up towards the plethora. A little bit of an advantage towards Last Dinosaur, though, as they do just have one more checkbox in their favor.
Shikigami want to try to take this right side approach to get up to the high ground. They initiate with the Kitsune Rush here as the Amplification Matrix is burned from AJMR to keep them away from the Fox's trails. Mari poking them out, trying to keep them away from that staircase. Has the Gravitic Flux if things get dire here. Wicca going to be poking their head in a little bit, but almost gets it chopped off as I say that. But Shikigami just playing the patient game, waiting for the opportunity to engage.
Yeah, and, you know, waiting out these ultimates is always going to be the name of the game here, but now with Gravitic Flux, it's really popping.
The Gravitic Flux actually was canceled out by Mari. Now Zoe's Dragon Blade in the small room slices 3 to bits with the help of Snozlar. And the Last Dinosaur clean up that fight effectively and quickly.
Yeah, and when all is said and all is done, the ultimates expended means that Snozlar will be the only one with one online right now, but we actually swapped to a full-blown mirror off of the Widowmaker, off of that Kiriko, over to the Brig now, potentially provide some protection. Zoe clearly doing a number on this Genji to the point where they feel the Brig is necessary to sort of mitigate that flanker potential, and Zoe already down.
Yeah, Zoe is stepping a little bit out of their boundaries, gets killed out there by Anhu with the help of J-Man. Anhu, that was the dash of all time. Dashed right into the ceiling, almost got themselves killed as a result of it, but now Last Dinosaur trying to hold this for their own. The overclock comes out, lands onto Anhu from both angles. Snozlar finishing off that Genji in quick fashion, and Shikigami now down their DPS, trying to sustain through this, but now they're just trying to get rid of Snozlar, who is burnt out to the ground, so there still is potential for Shikigami to make the re-engage, unless you shoot the deflecting Genji.
Zoe just putting on a clinic right now. Every time I feel like Shikigami finally has some leeway going in their favor, this Genji has been absolutely absurd so far. I can see why Headrammer has been gassing them up in our ears, but yeah, it just is meaning more and more time being burned off this time bank. Shikigami now going to dip below a minute 30 here. They've got to be able to get some space and get some things rolling in their favor. They have a bit of momentum. They're going to have a gravitic flux. It might be matched on the other side. But besides that, they really just got to find some sort of footing in this match.
Last Dinosaur continuing to hold this pedestal. Shikigami looking for the advantage that they need to get this cart into the scrapyard. Right now, it's still just the poking phase. Last Dinosaur keeping the members of Shikigami at bay. The amplification matrix used here from AJMR to just keep them behind that box. The immortality field from Z Panther is burnt down as a result. But Aurora is, I believe, sneaking on the low ground, trying to look for that gravitic flux of their own here. And Shikigami now going to engage with the amplification matrix from Z Panther. Aurora now on that opposition high ground as J-Man is going to jump over, trying to look for kills of their own here. Shikigami now using that gravitic flux in tandem with Mari, just trying to burn down these members, and J-Man is going to get the better of their adversary. But it's still the Last Dinosaur coming on top, with Mari finding two. Anhu, however, gets the kill on the Wicca, but they're burned out by Mari, who's found 3 in this engage on the Sigma. The brick stuns and the rocks are not going to mean any sort of deterrence from the Sigma, cleaning up the field with the rest of their team.
Yeah, now the Sigma's getting staggered in what could be a final fight scenario. Losing Aurora this extremely late is awful for Shikigami. They got to be able to find a way back to this one. It might be Anhu having to dash in to touch the point on Genji here, just to try to give the team the rest of everybody else a chance to get back in. But last Dinosaur, they have so many ultimates to work with. They have the Dragon Blade, the rally online. It should just be theirs.
Overtime triggered. Shikigami able to get the touch onto the cart thanks and courtesy to Anhu, and now Aurora back on the Doomfist, just trying to punch in and keep this cart contested. The overclock from J-Man has to come up big, but so far they have found nothing with it to start off. Now here comes the blade from Zoe, slicing down J-Man to bits, looking for the Baptiste of Z-Panther, getting rid of them as well. 3 kills for Zoe, cleaning up the field and setting up a clinic in the middle of Junkertown.
A close back and forth series. Each team is just trading blows. But right now, I mean, Zoe's the one who's doing all of the damage. Yes, the rest of Last Dinosaur is having their impact, don't get me wrong, but this Genji is an absolute menace right now, stopping Junkertown here on point B. I'm going to be honest with you, Bowsy, I can't recall the last time at any point I've ever seen Junkertown point B be the stopping point. Normally, it's one of the maps where even if you slam your head into that brick wall over and over, you'll get to point C. It means that Shikigami, they have to have a staunch defense once again, like they did on Eichenwald, in order to be able to try to get this series back in their favor.
It's going to be a difficult task here for Shikigami. They have to be able to set up the defense effectively here. And they're opting to go with this exact same composition we saw them on this the latter half of that attack here, Megalast. They want J-Man on this Widowmaker once again, and Anhu on the Genji here. So we'll see if it's going to work into their favor, because it has to work here if they want a chance at that undefeated stage.
Yeah, and I like J-Man on the Widowmaker, you know, absolutely popping off here on our first point. Had to switch over to the Sojourn just to match Snozzler on the other side. And Snozzler also over to the Widowmaker again, you know, having that confidence to lock it again despite J-Man really getting the better on first point. It shows just how good these players truly are. So it's going to be interesting to watch this duel happen once again as these teams just, again, they're dueling back and forth looking for that one pick to go their way.
J-Man all the way in the back line, in the middle of the streets, trying to look for the pick onto anything here. They do find the head of Snozzler, but it is not a crucial blow. The Widowmaker just barely able to stay alive with 20 health to their name. Another headshot from Snozzler doesn't kill onto J-Man either, so these Widowmakers are hitting the heads, but it's not a crucial pick so far. As now Shikigami forced to give up so much space here, just waiting for J-Man to find this kill, and they're just being pressured out by Last Dinosaur.
Yeah, and the pressure back and forth means that immortality fields have to be expended, but J-Man finally finds their pound of flesh.
Finally, J-Man gets that crucial headshot kill after about 2 or 3 crucial headshot hits. And now Shikigami have that advantage. They have that long-range threat out of the picture. Now the close-range threat of Zoe is removed as well, courtesy of J-Man finding those heads when it matters the most.
Yeah, and those picks are all you need sometimes. Now you're seeing the rest of Shikigami just being so passive. Both of these teams really playing it slow. Nobody else has died, right, on this offense so far. It's just been these Widowmakers looking for picks back and forth.
J-Man has been the only person who's found blood yet on this round of Junkertown, using the old infrasight here to try and know where the members of the Last Dinosaur are located. Shikigami just trying to continue setting up on this defense. Last Dinosaur looking for a cheeky rotation, an opportunity to try and take advantage of the Last Dinosaur's position. J-Man looking for a pick, waiting for the shield to go down before they land a bullet into HMR, but it's not a crucial blow. And now the amplification matrix comes out from HMR. Snozlar is found in the middle of it. Their head now chopped off, and J-Man is still looking for more. Immortality Field used here from HMR to start off, and the blade from Anhu is so far able to get the kill onto Wicca, just trying to bring this back here for the side of Shikigami and keep them in this engage. With Zoe out of the picture, it's another hold for the side of Shikigami.
And J-Man really putting the entire team on their back right now, just as Zoe did in the first round. The Gravitic Flux being invested strangely.
Yeah, but the Gravitic Flux isn't going to do much when you've lost your Sojourn again. Snozlar 0 for 3 right now against J-Man. Aurora's going to use their own Gravitic Flux, lifting that Sigma and the Brigida on a pedestal as they're cleaned up by their own teammates.
Yeah, Last Dinosaur, they really can't make any leeway. Nobody can get back over onto this Widowmaker. You're seeing Snozlar over to the Tracer now, and that's purely just to get to J-Man. That's exactly what's happening right now. Don't get me wrong, again, there obviously is a whole team around them that is doing so much, but J-Man, just with all of the space that Shikigami is providing them, it's just, you know, over and over again being able to get these crucial picks, and this is what you need from your Widowmaker on maps like this. You need them to step up, to be the hero, to do it all.
J-Man's been able to do it for the past 3 minutes. With 1 minute left, can they continue this trend and get Shikigami this undefeated season? Looking for the shot on the Snozlar, who's looking to try and flank from the back line, as Last Dinosaur still just trying to poke out Shikigami and try to find an advantage in another means possible. J-Man, however, is fully distracted. Here comes the blade from Zoe into the midst of the field. It gets bashed out by Skilla, but they're still able to slice down the Widowmaker at the cost of their Kiriko, though. So now you're down a healer for Last Dinosaur, trying to find the advantage, and they find Aurora in a spot that they are not meant to be in. And now Shikigami starting to falter when it matters the most with 30 seconds left. Last Dinosaur now pushing toward that first point.
Yeah, the brig being taken down here, unless there's going to be a miracle happening here from Z Panther with this amplification matrix, this payload should be able to come through exactly as you saw here. J-Man swapped over to the Sojourn now, realizing that Tracer was just going to be a hound, a constant menace, but point B is now, you know, in effect. That golden box of victory already in sight to Snozlar, pushing up so aggressively here, looking for more and more picks.
Snozlar just trying to get rid of J-Man, and Wicca's able to finish out the kill, so Shikigami seeming to stagger here when it matters the most. Such a rock-solid defense is starting to fall apart.
Yeah, and they're very clearly making the call to stabilize. They're not trying to do anything too aggressive, take any position they know isn't safe. You're seeing Aurora slowly but surely push out onto this high ground. Both Sigma's going to be dueling towards these Gravitic Fluxes. Whoever is able to get it off first and find the impact, you know, as long as there's not an Immortality Field to save on either side.
Now Last Dinosaur looking toward that golden box of victory. The Gravitic Flux comes out from Aurora. It does land onto its target, but isn't able to get the final blow. Snozlar is able to get the better of J-Man in the Tracer 1v1, but Anhu has now got rid of Wicca here. Not without that Consumer Rush being unleashed. Here comes the Gravitic Flux from Mari, as now Anhu slicing and dicing on the field. Finds 3. Mari kills themselves out here for that 3rd kill, and now Shikigami are still in this.
Yes, indeed. Finally, another Genji to rival what Zoe's been doing. Anhu coming alive with a massive Dragon Blade. And now we're just in this, you know, these are certainly the honest compositions I've ever seen. We're almost on a dive comp, but both teams realizing just how powerful the Sigma is. And it's just going to be more and more of this back and forth here. Everybody looking for a pick potential. It could be Snozlar's Pulse Bomb.
J-Man?
J-Man!
Finding Wicca before the fight even begins. Last Dinosaur now down one of their support players, and now they're forced to back up here. They're going to be in last fight territory.
I really thought they were going to go for a C9 there, and I would have lost my mind if this series ended to a C9. But yeah, Last Dinosaur, they choose to disengage. They don't even attempt to fight this down a player, which is super, super smart. But again, now it's going to require more and more time for Snozlar to be able to actually properly set up and find out exactly which flank they want to be on for this fight.
Starfire looking for the pulse bomb. They try to land in the back, but the rally from Skilla keeps the rest of the support line alive. Shikigami just barely able to touch this card before it sails into the golden box of victory. His last dinosaur looking for any advantage again, but Snuggler is removed by J-Man, who's now looking for the backline, throwing a pulse bomb in AJMR's face, but they're able to survive. Zoe coming up now with the blade. They have to try and find anything with this. Is on who is killed, as is Panther. The Brigida of Skilla is still alive, but they're the only support left here for the side of Shikigami, as last dinosaur cleaning up these picks one by one. J-Man is the only person on the cards. They will die to the hands of Mari, and that undefeated season for the side of Shikigami has gone extinct. The last dinosaur are the ones to wipe it off the face of the earth.
Absolutely beautiful. What a message to send heading into the postseason. Shikigami, a team that despite some falters in the midseason tournament, they probably felt extremely safe, 7-0, not dropping a map before this. They've been proven to not just be mortal, but that they can even be beaten. The blood can be drawn, and it just absolutely blows my mind. Last Dinosaurs, obviously, you know, there were some maps that were a little bit rough, some things got dicey, but they knew when to dig their heels in. They knew that they could match this team toe for toe on this mirror composition, and they made it work. Last Dinosaur really proving themselves here, and again, just heading into the postseason, that's just a massive moral victory to have under your belt.
Definitely a massive moral victory here for the last dinosaur, as if the second place in the midseason tournament was not enough to justify their strength. They've taken down one of the most lethal teams in the CGL Season 13 Open Division here, Megalast, and now have put a statement on the board. They are here to win, as now Shikigami lose out on that undefeated season and heading into the postseason with their first loss of the regular season. Granted, technically their second loss if you count the midseason tournament, but that's going to be haunting them for the rest of their days here, Megalast. Coming one map away from being able to get the undefeated season, and it all goes to waste at Junkertown.
Yeah, Junkertown just unfortunately was not where they wanted to be, but still, you know, this is a good squad, 7-1 for a reason. It really is going to be one of those things where only time can tell how well Shikigami can bounce back from this one. I really want to see them at full force because, again, they were going toe-to-toe. They were even taking Last Dinosaur to task on some of these maps, really. So, you know, take this little off week that we're going to have, you know, brush up on everything, prepare yourselves, because I really think with teams like this being able to duke it out, and we have so many other teams just like them, I feel like this playoffs is going to be one of the most explosive ever.
100%. The playoffs are looking electrifying here as we enter into that postseason. It's going to be interesting to see how both of these teams are able to perform, if Shikigami can bounce back after losing this final regular season match. Excuse me, I hit my mute button by accident. Or if Last Dinosaur can continue their run trying to fray away from extinction here, Megalast. It's going to be one heck of an interesting postseason for both of these teams as well, for the entirety of the CGL community. But that's going to do it for our broadcast here today, Megalast. What an electrifying match that we were treated to here today.
Absolutely, and you know, we have some more throughout the weekend. We have Friday Night Overwatch only for America. Apparently the Europeans have decided they do not wish to play on Friday anymore. It is not for them. I'm sure it has nothing to do with the fact that OWCS Switch stage starts tomorrow, surely. But yeah, it's, you know, super exciting. We have a great weekend of games here to wrap up the regular season, and I look forward to all of it.
Absolutely, but that is going to do it for us here today. For my wonderful co-caster Megalast, our amazing producer Headrammer, and our amazing observer Beamguarding, helping you bring the amazing coverage of this Map 5 series to you here today. My name has been Bowsy. Until we meet again, we hope you have an amazing night.
Welcome back. It's a brand new season of CGL.
This is just an absolute treat. These players are so damn good.
The talent on these teams is undeniable. Everybody on every team right now is making plays.
It's going to be an exciting start to the season, and it'll just get better from here on out.
We're about to step to a whole new era of Overwatch esports. So much exciting action is happening here on CGL that you do not want to miss.
Look who's starting it all off. It's Raven. No one necessarily figure out what is the right way to go just yet.
What a nice roll through. It's just going to solidify everything within those
does come back, and Arsario gets the mech, but I don't need a mech. I'll kill Thor anyway.
This is just a highlight reel for Arsario right now.
They're making a statement in the EU Masters here.
This patch is still incredibly fresh. There's so much to learn, so much to change about the way we play the game.
NKC, but the shatter is colossal.
Let's get it going.
Trades keep coming through. Lores, you're going to be able to find these shots true.
Idu on the overclock with 2.
Here comes an Anvil immediately comes back and finds skills, slicing and dicing their way through 2-3. So back and forth.